So this was, of course, an extremely dramatic day. All the living hostages have been released. By the way, it looks like not all the dead hostages have been released yet, so we're going to see what happens on that front if Hamas are going to breach their part of the deal. There's, of course, many unanswered questions. How is Hamas, Gaza going to be demilitarized? All these things. Today, of course, we just have to celebrate the fact that our people are home and that our nation can have some respite. We have to at this point. We have to feel so much relief and joy for the hostages and their families and loved ones, and also look back at the remarkable achievements that have happened over the past 2 years. I want to show you a lighter moment where Trump basically said in front of the entire Israeli parliament and government that the president, who is more on the left than Netanyahu, should pardon him for the corruption charges that he's been dealing with for years over taking gifts of champagne and cigars. And I'll show you this clip as a lighter moment, which kind of highlights the farcical nature of elements of Israeli civil life and democracy. Have a watch. Yeah.
Hey, I have an idea. Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon? Give him a pardon. Come on.
There's no one like Trump.
By the way, that was not in the speech, as you probably know. But I happen to like this gentleman right over here, and it just seems to make so much sense. You know, whether we like it or not, this has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. This has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. And cigars and champagne, who the hell cares about that? All right, enough controversy for the day, right? It's actually, I don't think it's very controversial. So, you know, I mean, I see so popular. You are a very popular man. You know why? Because you know how to win. Over the past 2 years...
You should know, by the way, this is pretty unprecedented to see so much unity in the Knesset. I mean, I've seen prior prime ministers and presidents speaking, and it's, there's often a heckler or something. Someone in the Knesset has something to say, but that didn't happen here, both for when Netanyahu spoke, basically, and when Yair Lapid spoke, and when President Trump spoke. It was pretty remarkable, the amount of unity you're seeing in this room. And again, I just have to say that as we experience so much relief for the hostage families and the hostages themselves, and also that Israel's going to experience some respite, and that maybe this Trump plan will work, though I have serious questions and concerns. We do have to just pause and take a look back at these past 2 years. Think about how Israel looked before October 7th. We had Hezbollah and Iran. They've been thoroughly degraded right now. The Houthis in Yemen. Hamas thoroughly degraded as well. And it's not perfect. But the Middle East has changed dramatically as a result. Hamas were banking on this being the destruction of Israel. Look what's happened. In addition, the Israeli people have shown the most incredible heroism, courage, bravery that some doubted still existed. They're rediscovering their Judaism, their spiritual connection. I even saw Yair Lapid, who's known to be very much a strong secularist. He said that, our raison d'etre, our reason for being here, our justification, he said, he quoted Genesis, where God says, I will give this land to you as an eternal inheritance. Something's happening in our people. Something that was ignited by the most terrible, dark, dark day and destruction. I still have a lot of concerns about what's to come. But one thing I have no concern about is that the Jewish people, in the end, will triumph. And whatever the decisions of our leaders, our people will continue to shine as a light to the entire world. So these are remarkable times that we're living through. We still have enemies, we still have concerns, we still have the ideological hatred that needs to be dealt with. That can't be dealt with alone on the battlefield. Can in part, but not alone. So we're going to keep doing what we need to do to speak the truth to all who will listen. That, in some ways, is the call of the hour and of our time. So we all have to get to work in doing it. Before we wrap up, I want to share something important with you. The entire anti-Israel movement is built on one central accusation, that in 1948, Israel stole the land, and ever since, Palestinians have simply been resisting. But what if everything we've been told about this story is untrue? What if the real history of 1948 shows not Arabs being forced out, but Jews, while seeking peace, having to fight for their survival against a genocidal enemy that willed its destruction long before Israel's re-establishment? Have a watch of the trailer for our new, groundbreaking and essential documentary entitled What Really Happened in 1948. And if you want to see the full film, just click the link in the video description. In 1948, the world witnessed the rebirth of the Jewish state, the State of Israel. A moment celebrated as a miracle of survival and self-determination after centuries of persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust. Yet for decades, this event has been twisted into a narrative of theft and catastrophe, with the so-called Nakba portrayed as Israel's original sin, where Jews allegedly stole Arab land and displaced innocents in a premeditated act of ethnic cleansing. But what if this story is fundamentally inverted? What if the cause and effect are the other way around? Not Israel aggressively seizing territory and Arabs responding in self-defense, but Arabs, driven by deep-seated hatred, rejecting the Jews' legal and historical rights to live in their ancestral homeland and waging a genocidal war long before Israel's re-establishment. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the unvarnished truth about 1948, the centuries of pogroms and anti-Semitic violence that set the stage, the Arab leaders' explicit calls for extermination, and the defensive war Israel fought to secure its existence. We'll challenge the pervasive lies head-on, showing how Arab rejection of peace wasn't about creating a Palestinian state, but about denying Jews the right to live at all. From the Nazi-allied leader of the Arabs in Palestine, the Mufti al-Husseini, to the forgotten occupations by Jordan and Egypt, where no Palestinian state was even considered, this is the story of a conflict rooted not in displacement, but in whether the Jews deserve to live in their homeland. Join us as we debunk the myths with facts, confront the historical record fairly but firmly, and reveal why 1948 was not an act of aggression, but a righteous response to annihilation. This is what really happened in 1948. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.